Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottanam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jamudirayat
Jayam Udiyate
Nasmesya Bhadresu
Nasrayeshu Bhatreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevyam
Nityam Bhagavate
Bhagavati Uttamasloke
Bhagavate Shloke
Bhakti Bhavati Naistike
Bhakti
Sarita verse 12, 7, 12, 7. So this chapter outlines the duties of the Brahmacari. Varchayat pramadagatam arhihasto brihatvatam indriyane pramatine arantyapi yatir manaha. Translation. A brahmachari, or one who has not accepted the Grihastha ashram family life, must rigidly avoid talking with women or about women, for the senses are so powerful that they may agitate even the mind of a sannyasi, a member of the renounced order of life. Purport. Brahmacharya essentially means the vow not to marry but to observe strict celibacy, priyat vrata. A brahmachari or sannyasi should avoid talking with women or reading literature concerning talks between man and woman. The injunction restricting association with women is the basic principle of spiritual life. Associating of talking with women is never advised in any of the Vedic literature. The entire Vedic system teaches one to avoid sex life so that one may healthily progress from brahmacharya to grihastha, from grihastha to vanaprastha, and from vanaprastha to sannyas, and thus give up material enjoyment, which is the original cause of bondage to this material world. The word Vrata refers to one who has decided not to marry, or in other words, not to indulge in sex life throughout his entire life. So the Vrata, Brahmachari. So read the translation again. A brahmachari, or one who has not accepted the Grihastha ashram family life, must rigidly avoid talking with women or about women, for the senses are so powerful that they may agitate even the mind of a sannyasi, a member of the renounced order of life. Om Ajnanatimandasya Janansa Shanakaya Shakshramritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Nama Chitchetayamanovistam Staptam Yena Bhutaleshvam Rabakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiru Shiyuda Padakamanam Shirum Vaishnavamsa Shirupam Jagachatam Sagam Ragnatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaduptam Parachansaitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sangalita Shivashakam Vitam Sam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Kopesha Kopka Kanta Gada Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchna Gauragira De Vrindavaneshvre Vishabhana Sutta Devi Panamama Hare Paye Pancha Kalpta Visha Kripasnave Visha Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Sasatarani. So this verse is also about a Briyat Vrata Brahmacari. Interesting, lifelong Brahmacari. That also there are many Brahmacharis, but most Brahmacharis are temporary in the Brahmacharya ashram. After that, they do something else. So the Briyat Vrata Brahmacari of the nice sticky Brahmacari, also called, it's very rare that maybe 1 out of 1,000 devotees, even not, I think, that very rare. That, but at the other side, Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada also said all brahmacharis should remain brahmachari, and all the women, the girls, they should marry. But despite that instruction, still a brahmachari is very rare, very rare. That because these instructions are very important here in this verse for brahmachari. Now, before there were many other instructions that so the brahmachari should be submissive to the spiritual master. That submission to the spiritual master should only eat when he gets permission from the spiritual master. Otherwise, he would fast. That's quite a very rigid life described here of the brahmachari. There are many instructions in this chapter, also in the 11th canto, there are instructions for brahmacharis. That, yes, so many instructions which are very difficult to follow. But yes, that you see, not talking about women, that I'm from Christian background, and I remember Jesus Christ saying that I wrote it down here in proper English. One who thinks of enjoying another's wife that has already committed adultery, just thinking about it. That it starts with thinking, then plan making. That I read some every day the headlines of the news. That's because if you travel a lot, it's good to know what's going on in the world. And in Afghanistan, they are a big part of Afghanistan they have barred the internet to avoid sinful activities. I found that interesting. What's the problem? The problem is in this verse here, Indriyani Pramatini. Indriyani. That's the senses Pramatini. Almost always unconquerable. Deceitful senses. That is the problem. That we are in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means women and money. That's Kali Yuga. But first, let's go to the root. I have a verse here from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Bulisei Jiva Anadi Vaihmukha Ataiva Maya Taradeya Samsara Dukkha. Because we are forgetting Krishna, we become attracted to the external energy. Therefore, the illusory energy gives him all kinds of miseries in his material existence. So what happens? We forget Krishna. When you forget Krishna, then you forget your position as a servant of Krishna. And the first thing, you forget Krishna. Every moment you forget Krishna, you think yourself the enjoyer in this world. Enjoyer. And the proprietor. I and mind comes. Attachment to things in this world. And you become attached. And attachment is the cause of suffering. So that is what happens. Everything in this world is connected with Krishna. What is illusion? There's the second verse of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Sattva Sloki, which describes illusion as seeing things separate from Krishna. From the moment we see things separate from Krishna, because if we see things separate from Krishna, spiritual life means seeing everything connected with Krishna. We see it in this world. The devotee sees a beautiful flower. He thinks, I want the flower to offer it to my deity, to Krishna. He wants to connect everything with Krishna. But if we don't see Krishna, then we think, oh, the flower is for my enjoyment. That is called separatist mentality. In this 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj calls the tendency to enjoy the separatist mentality. But now I will try to come to the essence, how to control the senses and avoid to be allured by the illusory energy. So, seeing things separate from Krishna. Why do we hear the Bhagavatam every day? It helps us to connect with Krishna, the Bhagavatam. It connects everything with Krishna. But we must hear the Bhagavatam. So, but one devotee said to another devotee, that you were not in the class this morning. And the other devotee said, no, I was there, I was sitting at the back. And the other devotee said, yes, I could see your body was there, but your mind was somewhere else. So he was not in the Bhagavatam class because his attention was not there. We are spirit soul. Spirit soul means consciousness. Symptom of soul is consciousness. If the consciousness is not there, we are not there. The body may be there, but we are not there. That's simple. When we chant our rounds and our lips are moving, but our mind is not on the chanting, we are not chanting our rounds. Consider this. So giving attention is very important. Now, how is giving attention connected with this verse? That we will come to that and explain that. When Srila Prabhupada was working for a pharmaceutical company in Calcutta, and he was promoting all its products all over India. And he had, 20s, beginning 30s, he had even a car, which was exceptional at that time. And one day he was around Delhi, and he heard that the spiritual master was going to give a lecture in Koshi. Koshi is part of the Vrajamandal, is a village there. I've been there a few times. I did three times for the entire Vrajamandal, 1990, 2000, and 2001. The whole month in Vraj. So we went also to Koshi. And Prabhupada decided to go to hear a spiritual master. When he arrived in Koshi, then one of the Brahmacaris went to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and said, Bhakta Abai has come. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, oh, yes, I noted him. He likes to hear. He's a good hearer. And therefore, I will give him initiation. That was his basis, to give him initiation. So Prabhupada said in a lecture, it's also written in Satsvarup Das Goswami's Prabhupada Linamrita, when Prabhupada said, I tried to hear my spiritual master with attention, but he was speaking very high philosophy, and I could not understand everything. But I continued hearing with rapt attention, Although I could not understand everything, I continued hearing with rapt attention. Now, if we go to the Prabhupada speaks about how to cultivate his attention. That first canto, third chapter, all the incarnations are mentioned there. The last verse. Tatra kirtayato viprasher bhuriti tejasa Ham satya hamam tatra nivishtas tat anugrahat soham va shravayishyami yata ditam yata mati. This is Sutta Goswami that speaking. That Sutta Goswami said, O learned Brahmins, when Sukadev Goswami recited the Bhagavatam there, in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make to hear you the very same thing that I've learned from him, as I've realized it. So it says here, I've heard with rapt attention. And Prabhupada explains that in the purport, how to hear with rapt attention. So I'm going to the purport. I will read what Prabhupada says. One should hear with rapt attention from the real person, and then he can at once realize the presence of Lord Krishna in every page. The secret of knowing the Bhagavatam is mentioned here. No one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. If you are not pure in mind, you cannot give rapt attention. That Brahmacari is a student. He needs to do everything with rapt attention. If you are not pure in mind, then you cannot give rapt attention. The mind will go somewhere else. And the most powerful force is attraction to the opposite sex. And that takes your attention away. A very powerful force, very powerful weapon of Maya. But then no one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action, and no one can be pure in action when he's not pure in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. So what Prabhupada says here, if you don't follow the regulative principles, four regulative principles, you cannot hear with rapt attention. What is the vow that we make when taking first initiation? Is to follow these regulative principles. How did Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj knew that Prabhupada was following his four regulative principles? Because he was hearing with attention. You see the connection? That rapt attention. But how to hear with attention? Yes, Prabhupada gives a hint in that purport, but this is more deeply explained in the third canto of the Bhagavatam. Let's go to the third canto. From third canto, chapter 25. About devotional service, the glories of devotional service. Alright. Okay. This verse is not in the third canto, it's in the sixth canto. I will come to the third canto soon. Verse 6, 1, 13. Tapassa brahmacaryena shamena sadamena cha jahena satritso savyam Yamena Niyamenavam. So this verse starts with to concentrate the mind. What you have to do to concentrate the mind. One must observe a life of celibacy and not fall down. That's a big task. Because Maya is very strong. You are destined to fall down now and then. that is reality. But Prabhupada said, and not fall down. So, a life of celibacy. How to attain that, it's explained here. One must undergo the austerity of voluntary giving up sense enjoyment. So, Prabhupada explains this further in the purport also. One must then control the mind and senses, give charity, be truthful, clean and non-violent, and follow the regulative principles and chant the holy name of the Lord. So that comes down on following the rules and regulations. In the Nectar of Devotion, we have all the regulative principles for devotional service are described in 64 items. The 10 things are things to do. The next 10 things are things not to do. And the next 44 are items to engage us in devotional service, especially deity worship, the worship of Kṛṣṇa. So this is essential to follow these regulative principles. But that is summarized in Nectar of Instruction. Factually, Nectar of Instruction summarizes the entire process of devotional service mentioned in Nectar of Devotion in 11 verses. And there it starts with Pacho Vegam, Manasakoda Vegam, Etam Vegam, Sofisaita Dira. And the next verse is Sarvam. And it's Pacho Vegam, Maskoda Vegam, Shivam Vegam, Kutarapasta Vegam, Shivam Vegam, Sofisaita Dira. Sarvana Pimam Pridivim Nasisya, to control the mind and the senses. One must first control the tongue. So one must one must fight against the distraction of the mind and the senses, urges of the mind, of the senses. And one should control the tongue, then the genitals, then the stomach, and then the genitals. They are in one line, Rupa Swami says. If one eats too much, then sex life will not be controlled. A servant in Vrindavan was cooking for Prabhupada, and he made a sabji with a lot of curd, with cheese, paneer, and many other things. Prabhupada liked it very much. So the next day, the cook was thinking, Prabhupada liked it very much, I will make the same. So he made the same. And when Prabhupada took the lunch, he removed all the cheese put it aside. That and devotee the cook asked Prabhupada, why are you doing that? Prabhupada said, if you eat too much curd, too much protein, then sex desire will come. That interesting. That so not eating too much, not too less. For everyone different, but Prabhupada is all mentioned in the Nectar of Instruction. Atyahara payashasya. Atyahara. Do not overeat. Do not overeat. Atyahara. That in the purport, Prabhupada writes, the devotee eats very frugally, very less, not much. Just what's needed to keep body and soul together. So that's one aspect. But there is also another aspect that it's also our lifestyle. That 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is said that one who cultivates the mode of goodness will be conditioned by a sense of happiness. And one who cultivates the mode of passion will be conditioned by greed. And one who cultivates the modes of ignorance will be conditioned by madness. So that's important. We have to cultivate the mode of goodness in our lives. That if we cultivate the mode of passion and the mode of passion grows, then the mind will become a repository of lust and misuse the intelligence to get lusty desires fulfilled. And that is uncontrolled mind. That uncontrolled senses and uncontrolled mind. That one who cultivates the mode of ignorance, drinks alcohol and all these things, smoking, is conditioned by madness, means that one becomes addicted and it's very difficult to break. So we must always live in a mode of goodness. That's very important. That not eating too much and living in the mode of goodness. Eat food in the mode of goodness. That if we eat sweets and we eat too much sweets, what's happening? That you will suffer. That's the result. It's the mode of passion, attached to eating sweets. That sweets is like alcohol. That becomes addicted also to sweets. And if you eat too many sweets, you will fall down. That's even if it's Mahaprasad. But we have to deal with the mind. I traveled with Prahlad Maharaj, and sometimes he spoke of how to deal with the mind. The mind is addicted to sweets, and the mind says, I want sweets, I want sweets. If you say always no, then the mind becomes very sour. You have to live with the mind. It's not a pleasant life. Well, Pradhan you must deal with the mind educated like a child. You say, okay, you want sweet? I will give you a little, but that's it. Finished. Anyway, you can try it out. Let me know if it helps. But yes, we must see what we eat. If we eat a lot of chili, then Maya will come also. So we must, of course, Prashadnim is transcendental. Bhakti Prabhava Swami said, yes, it's transcendental, but if you eat too much, you still will fall down. It's purifying, but don't eat out of lust too much. We are honoring prasad, honoring that we are not speaking about eating. Mostly we take prasad and we are going to conquer it. But no, what this honoring means? Honoring means you are very peaceful in goodness. You take a shower before lunch. You take prasadam. And prasadam, honoring prasadam means a meditation. Or Kṛṣṇa tasted the food, tasted the prasadam, how it tastes. Therefore, while you are tasting it, you must taste it very deeply. That it's honoring prasad is a meditation on how Kṛṣṇa tasted the prasad. That's good for your health also. You meditate and you chew it slowly and you meditate on it. That trying to get the taste and then think how Kṛṣṇa enjoyed this taste. That's honoring prasad. It's different from conquering it, eating as much as possible and as quick as possible. No, it's a sacred moment that, and just eat what you need. What do you need? For Bhishma Dev or Bhima needed a little more than the other Pandavas. When Draupadi was cooking for the Pandavas, she in exile with Kunti, they would prepare a certain amount, offer it, and then half would go to Bhima. And the rest they divided to the other Pandavas and themselves. So yeah, the Ayurveda says, yeah, you can eat what you can hold in your two hands in one time. That's what you can eat. Of course, Bhima had bigger hands. So we have all different hands. So but that's the principle, what you can eat. Yeah. I remember Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. So I'm a disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And of course I met Maharaj many times, but such good remembrance. But there was a disciple who said to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, I'm always eating too much, how to do. He instructed him, you take a bowl and you fill up that bowl, and that's what you eat in one time, not more. And it worked. He came to that. But in the morning, at breakfast, we should eat 60–70% what we can hold in our two hands. At noontime, 80–90%. And in the evening, 10–20%. Not much. It's dangerous. Otherwise, lust comes in the night. I traveled many years with Prahlad Maharaj. He would take lunch, and then in the afternoon he may drink some herbal tea, but he would not eat anything anymore till the next morning. That's and you become used to it. That I'm not saying that everyone should do that. You have also, if you have health issues, that's something else. You must sort that out with the doctor, but we have to be careful. That so these are general guidelines. Otherwise, lust comes. That so yes, of course, to remove lust in our lives, we must purify our existence. In Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter, it said the yogi acts only for the purification of his existence. In the 6th chapter, there is the godly quality is described. Godly quality. Abhaya, Sattva, Samsudir, Jnana, Yoga, Vyavastiti. The qualities of the sannyasi. Also, the long life Brahmacari, not much different. And Sattva Samsudir is purification of one's existence. Now we come closer to the topic that we have in this verse. We will go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, text 1. Yeah. So, Abhayam Sattva Samstutir Jnana Yoga Vyavastitam Dhanam Dhamma Sajahyasam Data Svatyastaparjanam. Fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, and so on. So purification of one's existence. That's a godly quality. And Prabhupada speaks about that in the purport. We will read what he says about that. Then one has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. It's even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was at Puri, his feminine devotees would not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is a stricture imposed on the sannyasi not to have close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relations with women and possessions of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. The ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself. And we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen condition, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyas order in connection with association with women. one of the personal associates, namely Chota Haridas, was associated with Lord Chaitanya along with his other confidential personal associates, but somehow or other, this Chota Haridas looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back home, back to Godhead, for him looking toward material positions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking towards them with a propensity so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So these are the processes of purification. So that's very clear what he says, that Chota Haridas, he was looking at a woman with the lusty desires to enjoy that woman. And Lord Chaitanya is in the heart of everyone. And he could understand the intention of Chota Haridas. So there we have the intention. And that's very important. How to come to the intention, the right intention. If we hear the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavatam, in the 6th canto, that we have the story of Ajamil. Ajamil, he was in his youth a Paka Brahman, but by associating with a prostitute, he gave up his Brahmanical qualities and engaged in so many sinful activities that, but we know at the end of his life he had this near-death experience with the Yamadut, and he heard in his near-death experience the discussion between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas. That the Yamadutas who said we need to bring him before Yamaraj. Look, all his sinful activities that he has done. And the Vishnuduta said, we think you do not know the religious principles and Yamaduta said, religious principles are mentioned in the Vedas, and what's in agreement with the Vedas, what's opposite to that is not allowed. He has done all these sinful activities, so we will take him before Yamaraj. And the Vishnuduta said, no, this person is sinful, is sinless, without any sin. He has chanted the holy name of the Supreme Lord in an offenseless way. Therefore is cleared from all the sins. So, you see, Ajamil heard this in his near-death experience. And then after that, when he came out of his tree, of his near-death experience, he had 3 benefits. First, he saw these Vishnudutas, which are like Kṛṣṇa. He could never forget them. The second is, his life was prolonged, so that he still could rectify himself. But the third benediction is that he heard that conversation between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas. And he came to the point, now it's finished. I will never do these sinful activities anymore. That is the right intention. We may fall down, but we should not want it. That's very important. We should not want it. We should come to that conviction by hearing the Bhagavatam. I don't want it. But Shuddha Haridas wanted it. That's the problem. It's in the problem is in our heart, what we desire. That if we don't want it, this lust, but we are a victim, that's all right. And we fall down, we get up, and we go further. But if you become attracted, and in your heart you want these sexual relationships and so on, that's a problem. The problem is in our heart. It's not in the woman, it's in our heart. Not, we see woman as an object for our sensual exploitation. But there's a problem in our heart that that's not the fault of the woman, of the women. No? That therefore we should see every woman as a mother who is caring for the children. So, but that danger is always there if you associate. It's a warning. Recently, there was a sannyasi, Papa disciple, 50 years sannyas, and still falling down after 50 years. Sannyas is a very dangerous position. Always aware, Maya is waiting to get you. So Maya is very strong. Mama Maya Durachya. Krishna says, my Maya is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can cross beyond it. So surrendering means following the process nicely, hearing the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is full of stories. The story of Puranjan, who became attracted to Urvasi. It's one drama after another. So by reading that, we should understand that this attraction is the cause of my suffering. But it's not by meditating on this attraction and thinking it's bad that you overcome it. You control the mind by engaging in Krishna conscious activities, by chanting, by doing service, and so on, constantly. And keep your senses under control strictly. And in the beginning it's difficult, but later on it's normal, no issue anymore. That in the beginning it's a struggle, but later that it's not a struggle anymore. It's just your daily routine. So because Prabhupada once gave a lecture that was somewhere beginning 70s and end of 60s maybe. It was in San Francisco, I think. I gave a lecture. A devotee asked a question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, do you have lust in your mind? You must have the audacity to ask such a question. But he asked the question. Of course, we know Prabhupada was pure, but Prabhupada humbly said yes. Then later that morning, Prabhupada was going out And he was going to drive, a devotee would drive him to another temple. And the devotee who had asked that question in the morning opened the door. And Prabhupada looked at the devotee and said, yes, I've lust in my mind, but I've no time for it. So that's the point. We should not have time for it. That if you are engaged in Krishna, so how to control the mind. That is very important to understand the principle of how to control the mind. The mind, udrat atmanatman, udrat atmanatman, udrat atma. What's the verse again? Udrat atmanatman, atmanam avasadyat, atmevi atmanavimbu, atmeva ripur atmanam. Bandhus atmanastasya anatma anatmanat sita anatmastu sattvatve vartitatma vasattvat. So the mind can be your friend or your enemy. Again, the mind can degrade yourself or uplift yourself. The mind is your best friend when it's controlled. It is your greatest enemy when it's uncontrolled. So how to control the mind? I heard Prahlad many times on a Sunday feast lecture explaining that principle. And he said a person had a bottle. And in the bottle there was a jinn, a kind of spirit, evil spirit. He opened the bottle and the spirit comes out and bows down for him and says, I'm your servant. You can ask me anything, I will do it for you. But if you don't engage me for 1 second, I will kill you. And the man said, oh, clean the kitchen. And the spirit was cleaning. And then afterwards he said, now the bathroom. He was thinking, if he has done all the rooms, what I'm going to say. So when the jinn had cleansed the whole house, then the man said to the spirit, you go outside, you see this tree there. You climb up the tree, you go to the top, you jump to the next tree, come down again. Then you go to the next tree, you climb on the tree, go to the top, jump to the next tree, come down again. Like this, you do all the trees in the forest. And when you are finished, you start again. So that is how we got rid of it. But that is the mind. If we don't engage it for 1 second, it will again engage us in these lusty affairs. And that's the reality. That it said an empty mind or a void mind, a mind not engaged is the devil's workshop. The devil comes in your mind and engage you in lusty things. And that is a reality. Like a child, a small child, if they are not properly engaged in doing things, they do mischief. And the mind is like that. So Prabhupada was chanting his rounds. And then after he chanted his rounds, he put his bead back on. Well, he took his bead back and put it on the table and said, now I can do any damn thing I want. Of course, he wanted to say, it was a little cynical, that you chant your rounds, you think of Krishna on the holy name, and you stop chanting. Should you stop thinking of Krishna? No, you have to continue thinking of Krishna. It's Savaipam Saparudamo Yato Bhakterodoksha Hait Kapatiya Yatma Shubhashidati. The highest occupation for humans is devotional service to Adokshaya, which cannot be perceived by our mundane senses, beyond the reach of the senses. But that devotional service should be without motivation, material motivation, and apratyata, uninterrupted. In 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Srila Prabhupada in a purport says, one should organize one's life that one cannot do anything else than 24 hours thinking of Krishna. 24 hours. So that's the purpose that we are here, to organize our lives, that we cannot do anything else than 24 hours a day. Think of Krishna, or busy with Krishna. Sometimes we think too much service. It's good to have too much service. No time for Maya. That always busy in Krishna consciousness. That's very important. Yeah, movement does usually that's not a problem. If you don't know how to serve Krishna, ask the temple commander, will engage you. No problem. Because this attraction for women in the Vedic times, and also maybe 56 years ago, in the houses, there were the women's quarters. Only women there. Even the man would not go there during the day, the husband. No, were the women's quarters. There was a strict separation of the sexes. Because that's important for spiritual life, that we maintain this separation strictly, that it does not mean that we must become hard-hearted towards women. Has nothing to do with it. That's something else. We offer them all respects. It does also not know that because we cannot control our senses, that we must become averse to women. Has nothing to do with that either. That's dangerous for your spiritual life. We should not do these things. But yes, Maya is strong. That I heard Bhakti Vikas Maharaj saying in a lecture that he was in a Buddhist monastery somewhere in India or outside India, I don't know. But they had a room. In a room there was a picture of a beautiful woman, the sensuous picture. You can think, well, what is that picture? Why is that picture there in a Buddhist monastery? Just beyond that picture, the woman which is on the picture, her dead body is there, mummified. You can see the body of that woman after leaving the body. It doesn't look so nice anymore. So it wakes you up. It wakes you up. It's all illusion. Just the body is there. This body, my Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charamaj said, what happiness can your liver give you, or your kidneys? Nothing. It's just, you have this body and take the skin away and it becomes very ugly, all these organs, and we are not aware of that, but our heart is beating, so many things are going on in this body, the super solar arranges that, but it doesn't look nice if you take the skin away. That is Maya. This body is meant to go to ashes, back to the earth. But we are not this body. And the illusion to the opposite sex is based on that illusion that we are the body, and that enjoying the body is the purpose of life. But no, that a very strong illusion. But stronger than that illusion is the holy name and the Bhagavatam. We hear the holy name in the Bhagavatam. But it should be done in association of devotees. then this Maya cannot attack you. Bhakti Maharaj told us many times, you have this, you have a lot of sticks together, you can, together, you cannot break, but one stick together, easy to break. You are not in association of the devotees, you are alone with your mind. If your mind is contaminated, Maya will get you. But in association of devotees, in the temple, in a holy dham, that Maya cannot touch you. So we should always stay in association of devotees. Very important. That I mentioned a lot of things about controlling the senses and dealing with women. Any questions? You have 10 minutes left. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the class. So, Maharaj, there was a of purity in action, which is attained by purity in eating, sleeping, mating, and attained by. So, the details of that are not given in that verse. So, purity of eating, you explained some things, basically how to do it, what the points are. But purity of sleeping and purity of defense, say for example, I want to ask. So, what is the list of points which we can say by which we can judge someone is living a pure life in terms of sleeping and defending?
Yeah. Defending that animals defend themselves, that but human beings must live, well, according to the Vedic system, must live into the varnashram system. That and there your defending is guaranteed by the Kshatriyas. That of course you have exceptional situations. If a devotee is blasphemed or attacked, we will defend the devotee. That's purity. It's blasphemy of devotees we cannot tolerate. That defending mating, yeah, only sexual contact for procreation of children. That's also purity in action. That no sexual contact, no sexual activity, if it's not for the procreation of children. So it's defending, mating, and the other was sleeping. Okay, sleeping. Before going to sleep, you read Kṛṣṇa book. That's the prescription of Prabhupada. You read Kṛṣṇa book, you offer your obeisances to the spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada. Then you meditate on Kṛṣṇa and try to take rest. Then usually the day after, when you get up, you think of what you did last night, the last thing you did, and you start off meditating on Kṛṣṇa. And purity in sleeping means we don't sleep more than necessary, but we sleep what is necessary according to our spiritual advancement and our bodily situations. Yes, but opposite one who sleeps more than 6 hours is in Maya. Then the illusory and mode of passion and ignorance comes. So therefore we should sleep 6 hours. I traveled with Palau Maharaj, and it was more 9:30. We were going to sleep. I was sleeping till 3 o'clock, but many times he was on 2 o'clock. He was already up. And during the day, around 11, from 11 to 11:30, he would take some rest. And that's it. But it's important to have, although we may sleep only 6 hours, to have a good rest and have deep sleep. Otherwise, it may be problematic. That the quality of our rest is also important, because during the deep sleep, the body regenerates many functions, purification, and so on. And if you don't have the deep sleep, but anyway, but those who are very advanced, their super soul arranges that, but we should not imitate that. That trying to sleep only 2-3 hours, you can do for a few days and then crash. No, that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, because it's also important for controlling the senses. That don't eat too much, not too less. Don't sleep too much, not too less. And don't be always full don't be always active, but have also recreation in your activity. Our creation is we do kirtan and so on. That's our recreation. But it's important to be balanced. If we are not balanced in our activities, we cannot control the senses. Then the problem comes in. So balance is very important. Yeah. Does that help? Good. Good. Yeah.
And you told like when we are conditioned by Rajagun, greed, conditioned by Sattvagun is happiness, conditioned by Tamogun is blindness. What does it mean to be conditioned by Sattva? If somebody wants to be conditioned by Sattva, what exactly?
Now, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita there, one in the mode of goodness becomes conditioned by happiness. Because in the mode of goodness, we feel good. We feel some peace, some happiness, and we may think, yeah, okay, that's good. First, one start to think, I'm better than the others. Yeah, I'm the most happy. And that's what I want. This Maya, this peace and happiness is a situation of the mind, which we are not. And when you are attached to that situation, you will take birth again in the mode of goodness, but you take birth again. You become conditioned, you become attached to being in that situation, but it's still a false ego. It's a false ego to think I'm a Brahmin and I'm in the mode of goodness. We should never think like that. We are a servant of Krishna. We are not Brahmacari, sannyasi, and so on. No, but this Brahmacari is the basis of spiritual life. That Brahma Achar, how to act as a spirit soul. And that is the basis, Brahma Achar. Of course, some say, Daksha said, okay, that the mode of goodness, he said, one must experience the mode of passion in his life and experience that it leads to suffering. Unless one has the experience, one cannot give it up. Prabhupada in the purport writes, that's not true. We can just come to the right conclusion by hearing that. But I can assure it that Daksha, as his experience, I had also my experience. I was married for 12 years. now I'm a sannyasi. I can tell you I'm no interest in women anymore. It's finished. That I got my experience. And it's certainly helpful, but it's not the ultimate method. Ultimate method is hearing the Bhagavatam. Then we get a realistic view of what's happening in the world. I just read, because I'm speaking that, but factually, I just read Prabhupada saying that. I was every day I'm repeating a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I was repeating chapter 15, 15 verse 10. Let's see. Verse 10. Yeah, it's the endeavoring transcendentalist who are seated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But in the Bible says that there are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritualization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. So until one is in the position of self-realization, I'm a soul, I'm not this body, that you cannot get the point, Prabhupada says. That you don't get the point. So that is important. By hearing the Bhagavatam, we get that point. We start to understand the futility of material nature. That and we come to the point, to the conclusion. Material life is not no interest. No interest in relationships, temporary relationships, unless connected with Kṛṣṇa. That we have seen this illusion many times. Married life is meant for enjoyment. That's the illusion. So a new devotee was just married and asked Prabhupada, how do I see the relationship with my wife? Prabhupada said, you ask your wife to cook. You ask your wife to cook, she cooks. And you offer to go Nitai, then you do the puja, you go out, you ask people, or you shout in the street, everyone who wants to take prasad, to take food, please come. And then when people come, you serve them, and then the family can eat, and then you can eat. But Prabhupada said, I want to know what's the relationship with my wife. Prabhupada said, you ask your wife to cook, and then you offer it to go Nitai, do the puja, you go outside, call out 3 times. Please come if you want to eat. And then you serve the guests, then the family can eat and you can eat. But Prabhupada, I want to know about the relationship with my wife. I was thinking Prabhupada did not understand him. But Prabhupada repeated it a 3rd time. So relationships in married life are meant to support each other in devotional service. It's not for sense gratification. And we think, people, I was in Scotland more than 15 years ago. I was a Brahmacari. And I was at a festival, summer festival, and I was sitting in Karuna in a little tent with a sign, ask a monk. And a lady comes to me and said to me, I want to meet my soulmate. soulmate. That so yes, we think I'm going to meet my soulmate, and then I'll be happy. I cannot be happy otherwise. It's the big illusion. There is no thing as a soulmate. That relationships that which are not based on Krishna consciousness are in the modes of nature. In the beginning, it says, I love you. 3 years later, I hate you. Because the sense gratification becomes poison. So these material relationships are temporary. They come and go, they are for a few years, and soon we are out of the body. What's the use of it? Nothing. Just we have to learn how to connect with each other and assist each other in Krishna consciousness. And that's the reality of Grihastha life. Otherwise, we are in Grihāmedi life. Yeah. I was in Grihāmedi life. That was the horror period of my life. That if you break the regulative principles, you will suffer like anything. You should be very careful with it. And so they come to the determination of Sajamil, I don't want it. Even if you cannot control your senses, you should come to that point and don't want it. That's very important. Then the intention is right. But we should avoid fall down. That by following all these rules, if you are regulated, it will go better, much better. Does that help? Okay. Yeah, over time. Thank you very much. That Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Let's thank the Bhakti Prabhava Swami.